Bon après-midi, il est temps du bois, un verre de vin, so come on in, take a sip, and let's wind down on the Monday Guardian Quick Crossword. I think we're on 17.04 today. Wasn't available yesterday, but the Everyman Crossword was available, and it kicked my teeth in is what it did. I did my very best to answer as best I could. I couldn't get the buttons to work, or I didn't know how to use the buttons. This is more likely a scenario, right? I mean, let's not lie about it. I'm new at these things, and having spent a great deal of time in the United Kingdom, I also know that things can be a bit more complicated there, and that's fine. But I think I left it out with two answers blank. And so if I pull this up and we're looking at this particular grid, I've got the answers here. And those were sent to me by, that's Musty MC23, sent those to me yesterday evening. And it was nice to be able to go in and fill them in. And sure enough, it worked, or at least I thought it worked for what it was, but I had no way to check and see if it was right. So for example, on the Guardian Quick, I've noticed that there's the check all button that I can check and see if I'm wrong or right, etc. But that wasn't the case for yesterday, but it's great. Now, 3-penny bit, that was, no idea what that was supposed to be. I was just guessing what could possibly fit in like 17 down with Chaplin. And then with 18 down, laciest. I know people say Chaplin, but Chaplin. I think it sounds better French. So forgive me for that. But so the aspect, and what was the other one that was a big piece of that puzzle there? But the point is that between precisely and plum and 3-penny bit, I had the hardest time with that. And so I was just glad to see that I kind of got through it. And I was glad that my Hail Marys that I was throwing at the very end. Do y'all have Hail Marys in rugby? Do y'all even watch American football? You just throw that pass down the field. You got 3 seconds left to play, and you just hope somebody catches it and runs it in for a touchdown, right? Well, that's kind of what the Hail Mary was from our lingo. I don't know if we share that or not in the rugby world when y'all are throwing stuff around too, football looking shaped things. But my Hail Mary was Chaplin and laciest, and the fact that we even got there, even close with you just missing out on 3-penny bit, and plumb. Otherwise, not a bad attempt, but what I learned is that we need to probably stick with the Guardian Quick until I get a little bit better with these things. So, with that said, a little bit more solver's courage. And that Saint-Alain, I am going to be mourning when those 2 cases are gone. And we're getting close because a case and a half is already gone. Got a little thirsty last night. Okay. So, let's pull up our quick crossword. Yes, number 17.04. And we will very carefully place the mouse in there, 1 across. So now we're going to start with pardon in 6 letters. I got to tell you, this Yank really appreciates this stuff. So suppose, ground spice, and we've got 7 letters. And I can't think of any ground spice other than pepper. That would be too short. I think we can get paprika in here, though. My Oma, my little German grandmother, used to always say paprika. I miss that. God, I miss her voice. God, she was beautiful. Suppose. A lark. Okay. Well, I'm familiar with these words so far, but nothing's coming to me. Yeah, Asian dog breed. Oh, I can think of 2. Shih Tzus and Takitas, or Akitas. And so, and I think this is a TZU. And the caret symbol, or, how we connote integers, right? So, suppose Pardon. So I guess a lark could be a caper. And I'm really careful to not just throw my simple wild A guesses into this thing, because it works on a normal, like say the New York Times crossword, where you've got so many different intersections to check yourself with, but not so here with the Guardian. And so I gotta really be careful. And I think a pardon could be to excuse. And already screwing up, doing so good for a minute there. And then I expect. So suppose expect. I mean, seeing that in there. I guess expect, yeah, I don't see why not. Feels good to me. Let me see if I can get up in here and around. Seller of buttons, etc. Okay, facial hair with a question mark. All right, I'm really not sure I understand what the question mark means just yet, but I'm learning the personality of this grid. I really am. A low level, we got a 6 and 5. Is this by any chance an R? Navigator, or U.S. state capital? Well, North Carolina, maybe? I mean, that could be an R. Could get Raleigh in there if I'm spelling it correctly. I don't remember if it's E-I or I-E. Yogurt-based Indian side dish. Now, the first thing coming to my mind is lassi, but lassi's a drink. It's a yogurt drink. So maybe, right. So now we've got a hyphenated word, timber decay. I think we got a rot of some sort, and I think that might be called dry rot. So far, everything we use in Yankeeville is working. Narrates. Aim, educate. Okay. Paste made from sesame seeds is tahini, or do y'all call it tahina? It's either tahini or tahina, and I think it's both. I've seen it written both ways. Aim, educate. So narrates. So aim, educate. I guess we could train, and now if I could train my eye on the target, so I guess that would work. Don't feel too terribly comfortable with that, but a lot of this so far I do. So narrates. I guess the grid's calling for relates, which holds up to the Yank usage definition, but not commonly, right? You know, narrates, you know, maybe orates or tells the story, right? You know, some version of a raconteur, but relates. Yes, related the story to me. That makes sense, but it's not something that we would use too terribly much. And so with that R there, which was my question before, I was thinking this might be a ground floor. And I don't know if that's going to help us any, but so far I'm feeling pretty good. And this looks like this is a haberdasher, which is a term not often used in the United States, but I use it all the time. In fact, I think maybe I learned it from a Family Guy years ago, but I always liked the idea that, no, I must stop at the constabulary on my way home from the apothecary, but first I need to run by the haberdasher. So just using these old arcane terms, right, you know, but I think a haberdasher, right, you know, that's a pretty cool thing to have. I have one in every town we've moved to. The first thing I've looked for here in Germany is a haberdasher, someone who can make my hats for me, because they don't make these. And so they just don't. So I gotta have them made, and so I love my haberdasher. Range of hearing. Maybe earshot, which we need to check immediately. Chap who made a miraculous comeback, 7. Got an L and an R. That's just telling me we're talking about the biblical Lazarus. Rise, Lazarus, rise. When I was a kid growing up, we had this show that came on every year at Easter time. It was a TV special, and I'm sure you watched it there in the UK too, but it was called Jesus of Nazareth. And I just grew up thinking that everybody who was Jewish in the Middle East in ancient times had an English accent, because Jesus said it, rise, Lazarus, rise, kind of a thing. I say you should rise, oh boy. Yeah, right? This is great, and it's such an elegant accent anyway. And I've always been working on my Oxford posh. Oh, for the love of God, no. So, working on it. In a serviceable state. I think this might be usable. And respectful address used in colonial India. And if I'm not mistaken, that is Sahib. My favorite writers on the planet are British. Ian McEwan, Sir Martin Amis, rest his soul. He hasn't been gone from us long, and I just hate that. So, lively. Are y'all looking for zesty here? Because that's really more of a flavor note for Yanks, right? Zesty, kind of a spicy, fun salsa would be zesty, right? Maybe. Shrub, moaning Hogwarts character. I should know this. I've never seen it, but I should know it. It's not coming to me. I don't know that it's even going to. The MY. Shrub, moaning Hogwarts character. Only thing I can think of is maybe a Myrtle. But whenever I went to Balliol College, last time I was in Oxford, I stopped at Balliol College. I wanted to see where my lifelong idol, Christopher Hitchens, went to school. And where he read PPE. I think he read politics, philosophy, and economics. And I was surprised. I couldn't buy any Oxford gear, really. It was all Harry Potter gear. Every other store was Harry Potter, right? So, self-service meal, 6 letters. The only thing I think of is a buffet. I know you got them there just like we have them in the States. We even have quite a few buffets here in Nordbayern in northern Bavaria, so it's kind of nice. Sam, Tom, or Vanya. I don't know who Vanya is. Note to self, learn who that is, but I think this might be Uncle Sam, Uncle Tom. Maybe, so facial hair, I guess, could be an eyelash. Man, I'm feeling pretty good so far. So a hodgepodge, and boy, I don't know if I remember how to spell this, but I think this is a Farrago, is it? Farrago. Oleo, Collectible item, I guess could be a curio. To go in the Wunderkamine, the Cabinet of Wonders, right? So, silverware. I don't know. Do I have something wrong? The only thing I could think that would go in here looks like it could be a trophy, but I don't know. Is that something that, Brit would say about a trophy? Oh, no, he won himself some silverware last year's tournament. How about that? I don't know. Is that correct? Help me out. I love hearing from you, by the way. And again, I just cannot thank Musty MC23 enough for saving the day yesterday, because I couldn't find the answers anywhere, and I didn't really want to cheat through that, but I didn't know what those two things were, and so I'm very thankful for the 3-penny bit in the other. Now, with all that said, it's time for the moment of truth to see where exactly I stand here. So we'll check all, we'll confirm it. And I don't see any blank spots. Oh, I did get one. It was probably where I thought it was. I think I put tahini in, so maybe try tahina like I thought. And let's check all again. No, did I put tahini in? I can't remember what I put in now. Check all. Okay, I guess that did it. Just one more time, just to make sure. Okay. Okay, fantastic. Wonderful grid. You know, I think this is like number 6 for me for getting through the whole thing with some ease. It wasn't terribly confusing, but I was not familiar with Trophy. I need to learn more about Myrtle, and I need to know who this uncle of Vanya is. Vanya? Vanya? I don't know. But I'm going to have to check that out. Try to make myself smarter every time as a result, which is really the goal in all of this, isn't it? Right? It's not just winning or beating a grid. It's about actually getting something out of it and learning it, which is great. So let's go ahead and tap this on out of here, and then we'll bring down our Bavaria d'adieu. And just want to say, until we see you tomorrow for the mini New York Times, the New York Times grid, and the Guardian, presumably number 17.5. Ich wünsche Ihnen einen schönen Tag noch. Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, servus, grüß Gott, ciao, Cin-Cin. Be good to yourselves, be great to your neighbors, and be phenomenal to the chap behind you in the queue. Cheers. Take care out there. Be well.